quickly.
No.
I did.
Chris, it doesn't matter. That is like.
Well, I'd rather do it quickly than take my time.
Chris, that's
Oh
wrong.
my gosh.
And nobody will ever know what exactly we were talking about.
Nobody, unless you reveal it. But no, that's pretty sick.
But that is. It would make people cringe.
So. It's making me cringe. Right before we come into the studio.
It's a definite cringe-worthy testimony.
It is.
And story. I don't know if you want to open up with that as being like, what's been good, but
oh my gosh.
So what's been good with you, Chris? Well, I got a story.
Yeah. I got a story to tell you. Oh my goodness.
No, I will not tell that story.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still trying to recover from reading it.
I know.
Well, for those who are watching, if you're wondering what we were talking about, just go to Chris Gordy's Facebook page, and
there you go.
You'll find out on your own terms.
Yeah, on your own.
Yes.
That's some old style type stuff.
But yes, here we are once again, people. We are back. The Slanted Brow Show with number 19. 19.
We must really mean it. We keep.
Are we gonna do something special for number 25?
How about do something special for number 45? No, just kidding.
No.
Yeah, I got something special for 45.
Me too. Fade to black. Out.
Yeah, I got something real special.
Well, to be honest, hopefully we won't have to reach episode 45 to even say this is dedicated to 45. If you get what I mean.
That would be way too long. Yeah.
That would. But to answer your question, 25. I mean, I think that it would be right for us to kind of do something special.
Big extravaganza.
Yeah.
Really.
I'm about that. I am definitely about that.
I'm seeing balloons, smashing things.
Oh,
that's right. Don't think I forgot.
That would be
smashing
perfect.
Things.
That would be epic.
That would be.
That would be so epic.
Episode. Yes, that would be perfect.
Okay. Right. So we got to figure out when we're going to make that happen.
Yeah, I have to follow up with you guys. Sorry.
Okay.
We can do that. Fair enough.
All right, folks. Good night. We're going to see you in a few weeks for our 25th episode.
Yeah. Sure.
Right. So, gosh, we have a lot to talk about tonight, and I want to quickly get into it. But of course, we got to stick to our regular programming, which is, what's been good. So let's start off with something positive, and hopefully we can end on a positive note as well, right?
Okay.
We'll see. Right. Hopefully.
All right. I'll start. So, it's gotten a little bit colder outside. In fact, we hit the autumn equinox, so we are officially in fall now. And last weekend, I really wanted apple cider, and it's just because I'm ready for the fall to begin. And every year, I always have a hard time finding like a place that has like real fresh apple cider without them like cooking it down and doing blah 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 too. Okay, so I found a place that has it like almost year round. I don't know. Can I say that? Can I say the name of their business?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Name drop.
It's called the L Farm. L-E-L-L. It's on 42.
Okay.
That would be my next question. Okay.
Yeah, it's on 42. If you're heading toward Pisgah, on 42, the Kroger's on your right. Go down about a mile, and it's just right there on the left. They have a little itty bitty store that's probably about as big as this porch, but they like raise their own produce there, and they've got apple cider, and they've got their own honey there. They've got all kinds of stuff. Nice. And the lady behind the counter, if you let her, she will talk your ears off. She will bring out. She will. No, she's cool. It's like Adrian and I kept like looking at each other because it's like she kept just talking and then she was like, she kept hollering at her grandson, I guess, in the back going, Matthew, could you not do that? And Adrian was like, what's he doing back there?
Yeah, what
It's
is
so
he?
interesting
I don't know.
that you gave a shout out and threw shade simultaneously. Just wanted you
At
to
the
know.
same time.
Yeah,
Oh, but it's
simultaneously.
awesome. I
Like,
got the
over there, she's
and
gonna run her mouth. You're gonna be tired, but
hey,
oh
I
my,
loved it. I actually bought their honey when I was there, and I bought a gallon of apple cider. And I told her, I said, it's just fall, and I want apple cider because that's what you
right.
do in the fall. And she says, "Oh, honey, we have it year round." And I thought,
That face.
well, now I have a new place. I have a new place. So
This is apple cider. Good job.
yes. So anybody that wants like fresh apple cider right now, look them up. The L Farm ELL, right on 42. Look them up. Great place.
Nice. Nice.
I
Fall.
went there and drank their cider and tested it out, so you don't have to.
Right. I thought you were gonna say if people wanted, they could buy it from you. Good job for shouting out the business.
Like he's the dealer.
I'd be like a cider dealer.
Yep.
Yep. You have the feds
Oh my
watching your
God.
house.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I meet people in like the parking lot down the street at Kroger.
Just put your cup out the window. Just put your cup out the window. No.
Yeah. People walk by, very coyly, just drop a few bills in. They walk away with this bottle.
That's bad. Stop.
Mhm.
Okay, what's been good? My turn. Stop it.
Yes.
All right.
We're going to think that we used to live dark, sinister lives. Not us.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
not
look
you
at
guys.
my closet thug.
That's what we are.
So what's been good for me? It's been a really great week, business wise. I had a great conversation that's going to help push my business to the next level. I'm so excited about that. So, I don't know, just like when you're already like so engulfed in a thing, and then something like, I don't know, kind of explodes or something great happens, it makes you push all the more. So that's been my week.
Cool.
It's been great. It was totally unexpected, but right on time. It was definitely a prayer answer. So I'm excited about that.
Cool. Awesome.
Cool.
Bernard,
Well, I would say for me, I worked with my daughter on a school project. She was doing
Always
a
fun.
model of the Paul Brown Stadium. So we just did like a really watered down version of that, and completed that. So that was kind of like a step out of the regular regimen of my day-to-day life. So that was a pretty good highlight for me.
like you all made a model of it.
Very, very watered down. I'm talking like cardboard pieces here and there, and that's it. Like not a whole lot of effort, not maximum effort put into it.
More than
But
what
you
I was
did
doing.
it.
But I
Right.
did it, and I had some time with her. So yeah.
That's very good.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's what's been good, and I think that's pretty much been all that's been good,
Yeah.
especially for the past 24 hours.
I'm
Yeah.
It's
not-
been a rough 24 hours for a lot of people. So we're gonna go ahead and just dive right into it, as to what the Breonna Taylor case, and in everybody's opinion, do they believe that justice was served? And I will say, because of the people that I follow, I'm not a one-sided person.
Mhm.
Though I stand, true to my convictions, I am open enough to be able to listen and hear everyone else. And I do not block people. I don't do any of that crazy stuff. If people want to voice their opinion with me, I'll let them do that. So on my timeline, I had a little bit of on both sides. I've had people who were like, this is crazy. And then I had some people that was on the other side that said justice was served. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, I didn't. So I spent a large part of my day trying to go through the types of stuff and the types of interviews and words that were said that I know probably were reflected in the courtroom. And I know that we chatted about it a little bit earlier this afternoon.
Mhm.
So yeah, I do have two thoughts on it. One, the entire raid that led to this should never have happened in the first place.
Mhm.
It was it wasn't founded in anything. In fact, I know I said this earlier today, listening to an interview with Mattingly, who was one of the guys, one of the three cops that was there, had even said that this was, I guess, quote unquote, a soft raid, in that they knew that the guy that they were after wasn't even there, which leads me to wonder, if it is a soft raid, why would you have even been given a no-knock order? And then at the same time, he said that they were told just prior to going up to her apartment building that they prefer not to do a no-knock. They prefer to actually let them know that they're there. And that was like right before they got there. And so then the question is, well, none of that is making sense. Absolutely none of it is making sense. I tried really hard to find an interview with one of the other gentlemen, not the guy who's being charged for shooting into the neighbor's wall, but the third guy, who actually has quite a record behind his name of complaints that have been brought against him. One complaint actually said that he had to respond to a complaint that he had said rude and inappropriate things to, quote unquote, a community leader. He has a history of being a not nice guy. And I can't find an interview with him. I'll say it out loud. If anyone listening can actually find those, let me know. Because the only one that I could find was Mattingly.
It's probably intentional. If he already has a history of not saying the right things, the last thing that he needs to do right now is say anything. So that's probably a really smart move.
Yeah. He was also at one point in time, I guess, he had pulled somebody over, ended up in a shooting, and he shot at a car like 10, 11 times. I think this was right around 2010, 2011. So I spent a day suddenly not being very impressed with the law enforcement that was represented there at that raid. And it started to make me question a lot of their actions. And then I also listened to Kenneth, the boyfriend, Breonna's boyfriend, who was there. They actually interviewed him. It was maybe 3 hours after the incident had happened. So that was real soon, right afterwards.
3 hours?
3 hours, approximately 3 to 4 hours after the incident had happened. So he had, and in point of fact, he had actually referred to the clothes that he was wearing as those are the clothes that he had to quickly put on when they woke him and Breonna up that night when they were banging on the door. The whole thing, I mean, it already leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and then I read all this, and then I listen to the words that they're saying, and I listen to what they've done in the past, and no, I don't think justice was served at all. I really, really don't. I understand why they didn't press charges. They made it very clear. But that seems to be, for me at least, a major cop-out.
So I'm interested in, like Bernard said, representation on both sides. I'm interested in, I guess, Bernard, the people on your timeline that said they felt like justice was served. What did they see, or what did they observe that make them feel as if that were true? I think for the general public, I can't speak for everyone. I know a lot of people on my timeline was like, are you kidding me? Someone lost their life. You can't how do you put a dollar amount on the value of someone's life? And then, like you said, Chris, we're reading things and it was like they knew the person wasn't there. I've never heard of a soft raid in my life. So it's like, what's the point of doing a soft raid if you know the individual is not there? And then for everything to snowball to what we're talking about now, that Breonna Taylor lost her life. And it's like, oh, well, we're going to deal with the fact that other people around them could have been hurt, but we're not focusing in on the fact that someone's life was taken. So how are they, I guess, Bernard, my question to, go back is how are they justifying or seeing this as justice being served?
Well, based off of, to kind of, go a little further back to what you were talking about, why were they there? I heard a news report saying that the police were there to do a soft raid to see if they can recover any type of drugs on site. Because her Breonna's place was listed as whether it was a past or present place of where the guy who they caught where he was staying at. I guess they were trying to collect evidence. So that was the whole purpose of going to Breonna Taylor's spot unannounced, to kind of catch them off guard. You want to catch people off guard. And so to answer your question, what type of justification people were trying to find that was on my timeline, it was really flimsy. It was kind of sickening to kind of see things talking about, well, she shouldn't have been messing around with those types of people. Then this wouldn't have had happen. Or people saying like, well, she was, sleeping around with thugs, or, her lifestyle is what got her killed. Just kind of like, cold, heartless, but it was like that didn't justify the way the police officers handled that raid. So to me, the thing that bothered me most about this raid was that the police officers went to execute this at like past midnight, right? I think it was like 12:30.
Yes.
In the ungodly hour in which people are asleep. So I feel
the whole thing was over. I think by like 5 till 1 or something like that. It was the whole thing was crazy fast.
Yeah. And so for something like that to unfold at that time of night, to hear the police officers say, well, we did announce ourselves. I'm thinking to myself, like, well, they don't know to my knowledge, they don't know the floor layout of that place. So imagine if you were asleep in your bedroom, not nowhere near the door, and somebody comes into the door and knocks and announce themselves. You're not going to hear that. Like you're barely going to wake up to that. Like you would have to be yelling and screaming at the top of your lungs in order to be able to be woken up out of your sleep at that time of night to realize that, the police are at your door. So I'll give them that they said, yeah, we're at the door, we're the police. They probably only said it maybe twice, which is unfortunate because we don't have any audio. We have no video. They didn't have no cams on. So it was almost
they
like...
weren't even in uniform, right?
To my knowledge, they weren't even in uniform. So based off of those facts, I'll give them that, yeah, you announced it, but come on, at that time of night when people are asleep, who hears that through their house? You know what I'm saying? So to me, I was like, that was strike number one. And then number two, let's say that even after they're making that announcement, I don't know how long they waited for a response. I mean, did they just straight go into the mode of, all right, guys, let's go ahead and just knock this door down and break in? So it's like if you pause there and then all of a sudden just flip to the opposite side of the door where the boyfriend hears that banging and banging and banging on their door like somebody's trying to break in, he had every right to go get his weapon and to defend himself and to protect his life and to protect Breonna Taylor's life. So his natural reaction was to shoot at the door to stop whoever was on the other side. So he didn't know that it was the police officers. Even I think his 911 call proved that, because he was saying like, somebody was trying to break into my house.
Yep.
So it wasn't even like the police were in there at that time. He had enough time to shoot. He had enough time to make a call to the police and to 911, to the dispatcher, and to make his case. So it's like on the other side of the door where the bullet came from, the boyfriend, a police officer gets hit. He gets shot in the leg. So I can only imagine that the police officer did not, say, "Hey, you shot me, I'm a cop." I'm sure he was like probably man down, or I'm hit, or even if he was in a state of shock, they were still, everyone backed up, pulled their weapons out, and then just started firing at the door. And from that perspective, as a human being, not even as a cop, as a human being who's just carrying out orders, I understand that. I completely get it. You were sent on a job because of higher orders, whomever, I don't know, but as a human being trying to carry out your job, and you show up at this place, you didn't go there expecting to get shot at. That was not your intent. So they open fire, and Breonna Taylor gets caught in the crossfires of this happening. So to me, when I looked at that, I said, really, what we're facing here is not necessarily the police officers on trial as much as it is the system that is on trial. Because who was the one that signed off for them to do a soft raid at that time of night? And what type of training did those officers get to behave in such a manner to where common sense didn't click? I don't get it.
To back up just a little bit, though, according to both Mattingly and Kenneth, Mattingly was the guy that was shot in the leg. They actually busted the door down and they got in. Mattingly was in the apartment at that time.
Okay.
He got in, he said, and he moved to the left of the door. He said that, and this is where it differs. He said that when he got in, Kenneth was outstretched. And so what he meant by outstretched was legs apart. He was holding, when he came in, and then he shot him. According to Kenneth,
okay,
when the door busted down and he saw a figure coming in, Kenneth said he aimed down and just shot because he didn't want to kill anybody, but he wanted a warning shot to get whoever is coming into his apartment or into Breonna's apartment out of there. So he shot down. That made total sense to me when Kenneth said that, because I thought, oh, well, you did hit his leg. And you're close enough that if you didn't want to hit his leg, you didn't have to hit his leg. You're real close. Apartments aren't these huge palaces. You're within just feet of each other. So that made sense. But he was in the apartment. And the guy, and I had to look it up because, the guy that I was talking about that doesn't have a great track record, that was Officer Miles Cosgrove. And if you haven't heard his name before, don't feel bad. Nobody else really has either. He's the one that nobody has actually heard from. We hear from Mattingly. He's the one that got his leg shot. We hear about Hankerson. He's the guy that they're charging because he was shooting blindly and shooting the wall. If anybody has anything about Cosgrove, if anybody ever finds an interview, a police interview with him, boy, I sure would like to see that, or I sure would like to hear it. Yeah.
So what do you think people would think would be a good outcome? Because, we've gotten information and details. If the thing that, I'm gonna back up. One of the things that is kind of interesting is if you're doing a soft raid and you think that this person has drugs or whatever, generally where there are drugs, there are guns. So
right.
I don't really buy the whole thing like,
that's a good point.
We were just coming to see. No, just in your experience, or if you're dealing with someone who is dealing with drugs or suspected or whatever, that the two are it's like peanut butter and jelly. If you selling drugs, you got a weapon. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't think that this was some soft, hey, we're just here to kind of check things out. I don't,
right.
That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't line up. And then two, I do understand that as officers, if there's an active shooter, somebody's, firing, that's going to be their response. I think that the issue is that, like Bernard said, I think that makes sense to anybody when they just hear noise, on their, at their residence. Let's say, for instance, he was a drug dealer. Let's say, because we have people throwing around that she deserved it because she ran for drug dealers. I think that we can understand his response then. If he's selling drugs and he has a gun and people know, you're not going to live in an area and people not know that that's what you do. His thinking is probably somebody's trying to rob him. They're either trying to get his drugs or they're trying to get to him, whatever, if that is the case. So I understand both sides of the door. What is concerning is that, that there's no, I don't, and honestly, if there were shots fired, do we really expect them to not fire back? Do we really expect that? You know what I mean? So you have
That's
to look
what I'm
at
saying.
that.
Right.
But I think the thing that I'm most concerned about is how was there not like a reckless homicide, or, I don't know. How was there not something, I guess, to say that, just to not say that like she was a casualty of what happened. I understand both sides of the door, but I just don't think it's right or responsible of the department or even the people involved to just make this a matter of like, well, the law. There's a life that was lost. There are people that have been affected. And I think that it was just enough fire for the climate that we're in to start what we're saying again now. Like you said, they're having curfews and all this. It was just the thing that was needed to spark a fire that wasn't completely out. So I think that that's what the outrage is about. I understand. Again, I understand both sides of the door. You're not going to, have shots fired at you. The average person is not going to have shots fired at them and stand there. Or if you have a gun, you're not going to shoot back. I get it, but I think that people are just really looking for more regard for her life. This wasn't, I don't feel like they targeted Breonna. They didn't know who was on the other side of the door, as far as my understanding, So there's things that just don't line up.
And that's why I say that it was a botched raid. I think that something like that could have waited until like the next day. You know what I'm saying? Like daytime. Like that is a horrible practice. You do not go to somebody's house talking about, even if it was a knock, even if they said, make sure you guys go up there and you knock on the door if you're going to do a raid. That defeats the whole purpose of a raid. A raid is supposed to catch you off guard.
Make sure that when you get to her door at approximately 12:35 a.m., that you knock gently and say hello.
No.
Come on.
We're the police.
I want enough cops to know that that's not true. They come with the battering ram and
right. So again, and we don't know what happened on the other side of the door because there's no audio, there's no video. But we could only just go by the police report, in which we know by now you can't trust that. But somehow on the other side, the people that support the police, they are blind loyalists. They do not care. Like you can pull up the receipts, the evidence of how police lie on their reports. And sometimes they do tell the truth, but it's like, you know what? We gotta sit here and take their word for it and try to piece the puzzle together the best way that we can. And just based off of the evidence that we were able to accumulate, I can honestly see why it was so hard to convict these police officers of any type of murder. But it's like, well, then who is responsible? It's like the blame has to go somewhere. Like the hate, the anger has to go somewhere. And I think that people are, the ones who thought this through are frustrated because it's like, I don't know where to place my anger towards. I can't say it's 100% the police officers that were there on site. It's the practice. Like who's in charge of training? Like that person should be held accountable, but it's like that person wasn't even there. It's like, it's a mess.
Like I said, the fire was already still, simmering from everything that's been going on. So I think people are automatically going to be on that side, like, oh, it's the cops against black people. So you know what I mean? It's just, it was there's never a good time for it to happen, but it's right on the heels of everything else, which is why people are going to just jump right into the same, narrative that we've been hearing. Now is more, lockdowns and, run-ins with the police, because that's all they're saying. They're saying police and they're saying a Black victim. So that's why it's all kind of being put together. I do think that something should be, I do think that I don't think that it should just be brushed over, is what I'm saying. I don't think that it should just be like, okay, well, oops, we didn't know who was on the other side of the door. I don't think that is how it should be handled. But, I don't think that people are not looking at it through a filter of understanding both sides of the door. They're looking and they're saying, "Is officers and someone Black again?" So this is our response. And that it's a sensitive situation, and so that's why that's going to be the narrative. Period.
Yeah. But I would say that the city did recognize that it was a mistake, because they wouldn't have let the shooter off. They wouldn't have let the boyfriend off. They at least admit that he was justified in his shooting, and then they went.
Yes, but they let him go without prejudice, meaning that down the road he can be tried for this again.
That makes
Remember
no
that.
sense.
I didn't know that.
Remember that.
I didn't know that either.
They just
Wow.
He was dismissed, but without prejudice, which means that we can bring this up again.
Yeah.
And then
I think but see, I think that's their pride, though. I feel that they know that they're not going to come back, but it's almost kind of like they have too much pride to be able to say that we are 100% wrong and we're going to let you go. It's almost like, you know what, we're going to let you go, but guess what? We could always come back and get you.
But back to the point of nobody knows what happened outside the door. There is one witness, and even Officer Mattingly, in his testimony, had mentioned this neighbor at least 2 or 3 times, getting belligerent with the 3 of them. He was a neighbor from upstairs. He came down the stairs and he was yelling at those 3 guys. And apparently, even according to Mattingly, was yelling things like, "Leave her alone,"
Wow.
just giving him all kinds of shades of hell. Mattingly said that one of the guys, and I forget which one he said it was, but one of the guys was like getting nervous about having that guy around. And the person interviewing, it was a BS interview. The guy conducting the interview actually at one point said something effective. "Well, that may have also thrown you off, right? Did that throw you off a little bit?" Yes.
Trying to feed him.
Yes, it did. That kind of thing does throw us off. Yeah.
So
and I'm like, "Oh, you son of a!"
Direct your attention to whatever the distraction was. That's not a good excuse. And again, like I said, this isn't. Unfortunately, it seems like there's a lot of gray, right? But the end result is that we know that someone lost their lives. Yep. I just don't think that it should be something that, their life is not something that should just be brushed over and just be like, "Oh, well, back to your, regularly scheduled programming."
Right.
No, show more concern or compassion, especially with the climate that we're in. Show some compassion in that direction. And for people that are jumping online saying that, well, this is what she gets for X, Y, Z, that's you're just adding fuel to the fire and is displaying more ignorance. And again, it's picking sides. That's going to create an argument that doesn't solve anything. There won't be any resolve to this because she lost her life. But again, what practices can be in place? What can they do better so that this is avoided, in the future? And unfortunately, I hate that it seems like it's more, oh, well, it's damage control after something horrific has happened. But it's like, make this occurrence matter. What are you going to do better? Just show some type of remorse and again compassion, and then some way that you're being proactive going forward, that you're not going to have this type of recklessness going in the future. Just give the people something for out of respect for what where we still are, because that's why you see people rioting. That's why you see, what's going on now. You have curfews again. Like, just do something to show that, you're connecting with, and you are not just an officer, but you respect the humanity, and you respect the sensitive climate that we're in. Don't welcome or invite further issues because you want to be blatant and just, nonchalant when somebody's life was taken. Do better, be more responsible with, your platform and your responsibility to the public. Just do better.
Right. But see, the thing is I don't know the details of it, but they're working on some type of Breonna Taylor law. So they are at least acknowledging that there has to be some type of change, some type of reform that has to happen. And then, thirdly, they gave the family like 12 mil. So it's like you don't do those types of things if you're 100% innocent. And it wasn't on the behalf of the police officers. This was on the behalf of the system. The system realizes that they are wrong, but they don't know how to say that they're wrong. They don't know how to apologize. So what they'd rather do is just give you, some sweets, a pacifier. It's almost like being with an abusive person who says, you know what, instead of saying, I'm sorry, I'll never hit you again, they'll be like, I bought you a car. Oh, I took you out. Oh, look at this new dress that I bought you. But your face is still bleeding. Your lips still busted.
You're recovering. Right.
Yep. Exactly. So it's like there's something wrong with the system. And to put the blame on an individual as far as the police officers, again, themselves, it's such a slippery slope, because it's like, man, it's the system that put them out there. It's almost like they got left out there, not to say that to hang and dry, because they protected them. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, then somebody is to blame. And if it has to be the system, then at least tell us and say that the system is screwed up and that we have to do better. But we're not getting that.
Well, you have to, but also, and think about this too. And I'm not an advocate for any type of wrong or injustice at all. Here's what I know, just from having like my own conversations with people that, are officers, at different points. At one point, it was said to me that officers are kind of just like the pawns, that there's, legislation over them and people over them that are basically making decisions that they just have to carry out. And so there's responsibility on all levels too. But then you look at the people, the public that responds, right? If you try to protest now, people are getting snatched up or they're getting shot or they're whatever. But then when there were officers that were speaking out, they were losing their jobs. So there's people that are like, I don't want to say anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? True. I don't want to say anything anymore. Or it's like there's been like a unofficial gag order placed on the public and the police, to where it's just like, oh, are we just going to watch this continue to unfold in a way that people feel like, well, if justice is not going to be served, then we have to demand it for ourselves by any means necessary. And there has to be some middle ground. Somebody from each side has to stand up and say, hey, we recognize that this is not right. We recognize that, as a people, you have been dealt severe, injustice and oppression. We care. How can we come together to rectify this? But like you said, people don't want to say that I'm wrong. And so they silently, bear the burden of, okay, we're the bad guys. Which means the opposite side of that is, okay, well, we're going to deal with the bad guys. Nobody's talking. Nobody is going to experience resolve because people are just reacting. And that's true on the end of the officers and the public.
Right.
So
right.
You're going to see more of the same.
Yeah. Right. Now, another thing that I want to kind of talk about too, that concerns me, and Shakeen, I think you brought it to light a little bit, and I think you did a good job. Talking about how this kind of came on the tail end of, the Black Lives Matter riots and everything with George Floyd. Is this case a racist cops against black situation, or could this same thing had happened with there being whites on the opposite end of that door that received those bullets?
Same thing would not have happened.
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree that the same thing would not have happened. My response to that is that, like I said, it's already a sensitive subject. Like you gave the example of an abusive situation, right?
Right.
You can say I'm sorry, and then the slightest thing, like, okay, for instance, if somebody's abused, right? Anything like loud noises trigger them. They're on edge. That's the
Right.
climate that we're in. Everybody's on edge, right? So
Yep.
anything that happens that even looks like what we've just been experiencing is going to get this type of backlash. I can't say that it wouldn't have been the same thing because, again, if this is happening through doors, you don't know what color the person is on the other side of the door. All you're responding to is gunshots. I doubt that they would have stopped and would have been like, hey, is that a white person shooting at me? If it is, I'm not going to shoot back. I can't say that it would have been a different situation.
But to me, when I think they know who Breonna was, they know who she was.
I thought they weren't even looking for her. They were looking for someone who moved.
No, they know who she was because it was
Right.
her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, that was the dealer. So they know who she is. They know exactly who she is.
Right.
And I can't be convinced that it would have been the same if they were dealing with white people in the apartment, because the police have gone above and beyond to prove to me and everyone else that there is a difference in how they treat people. A white guy with a gun will plead with him and talk him out of it. A black man with a gun, shoot to kill. You can't convince me that it would have been, that it wouldn't have been different had they known that, well, it's probably a white guy on the inside of the door. I'm just going by what, that's just
the record.
Thank
you. You're going based off of the record. And it's like, I can see that, but it's like, I don't know all the details of the conditions. Like, I don't know if when they bust in, it was like pitch black or there were lights on or they can see it very little. But one thing I can say is that, right. But at the same time, it's like Breonna was the one that got hit with everything.
Yep.
The boyfriend did not. So obviously these were like shots in the dark, as the pun goes. And she was the one that got hit. I don't think that it was like black bullets. I think these were like, people who just kind of felt like, I'm getting shot at. It could have been a little white kid in that building. It could have been a little black kid in that building. I don't think they were aiming for Breonna Taylor. I just think that they reacted to somebody shooting at them. And their attitude was like, oh, gunfire? We got to return that fire. There's no time to sit there and ask questions or wonder, who's white or who's black inside of this building in this situation. This is just like, man, I got to survive. I got to go home to my kids type of attitude and situation on both sides. Because nobody knew. Like, both parties were in the dark. The boyfriend, he was in the dark. He had no idea who those people were that were coming in his house. And then he just opened fire. At the point he shot his gun, and rightfully so, that's when the police officers also had no clue who was shooting at them, where the bullets were coming from. They just responded. And I think that if it was white people on the opposite side that did the exact same thing that these black couples did, they would have did the exact same thing. I don't see the police just backing up and saying like, back up, retreat. I think they would have opened fire immediately.
Yeah, you don't negotiate with bullets. Like if they're flying, that is return fire. I think that, like I said, this particular thing is not a this or that type thing. It's just because the climate, as I said, not to be repetitive, but we already have so much tension. And then factor this in too. Chris, you made a very good point. This wasn't just a random thing like, oh, let's knock on somebody's door. No,
Right.
They knew that there were people of color there, this and there. So, I mean, you may be able to factor in there in a speculation, but maybe they were tense because of the climate that we're in. I don't think that there's anybody right now who isn't a little on edge. I told you all that I had my own. I almost had a Karen situation. I think that we're all kind of on guard. How much more, when they're going into certain neighborhoods and then you're already dealing with, things that have to do with drugs and their guns are going to be there. So maybe they were already tense, not justifying anything. Let me be very clear. I'm just saying that perhaps they were tense and on edge and ready to shoot because they knew what they were walking into. Breonna and her boyfriend, unfortunately, did not have that same, foreknowledge to be like, oh, well, let's see who's at the door.
Exactly.
It just, it's just not, again, there's no such thing as good timing or right timing when it comes to situations like this. It's just that the time that it happened in just happens to be, it's not looking good for Louisville. And with respect to this, you can't, their response can't be, oh, this is an isolated situation. No, you have to be fully aware of the time that you're living in and respond accordingly. And you have to be responsible in that response. People don't want to hear about, oh, well, it's the law. And so based on this or that, we can't prosecute this person, or even if it's right, just have a response that is sensitive to the people who are tired, as someone said in the comments.
Yeah.
Yep. Just be responsible with what you do and how you do it, because not everybody's going to care about what the law says. Like, of course, like Bernard said in the chat, it's not like, I don't think anybody expected a first-degree murder conviction because it doesn't fit the crime, right? It has to line up. So even if you can't charge somebody with something, if you can't, then at least, be responsible with the situation and find a way to respond in a way that makes everybody aware, and there's some sense of education, and then there's some indication of how you're going to move forward to make sure things like this doesn't happen again. And like I said, not to be repetitive, but there is some responsibility on that department and, the higher ups to do things that are going to make this make sense, make more sense, because drugs is never going to go away. Are never going to go away. Police having to respond to drug activity is never going to go away. But how can we streamline this and find a way to do this in a way that's more effective, and so that we're not losing people senselessly? How, what can they do? And that's on them. That they bear the responsibility of that. So I don't know. There's no easy way to look at it.
No.
I mean, so where do we go from here? I mean, I've heard people saying that the case right now, like it's done. It says stick a fork in it, but there's a possibility that there could be some civil rights action lawsuits in the future. To say that where civil rights violations apply, to the situation. I hope that they do. I don't know what justice looks like in this situation. Knowing everything that I do know now, because it's too messy. It's like it's botched. It was a mess up from the beginning, and somebody is responsible for it. And it's like, I don't know who, other than to say the system. But it's like, you can't punish the system. Not that I know of, aside from suing them. And the family got $12 million from the city. So it's like, is that the best justice that we're going to get out of this case?
I would say that the person, I would just like to know, process of elimination, you can find this person, whose idea was it to go to her place at 12:30 at night?
Please find them.
Because whosever idea that was, and then on top of it, decided that, this should be a no-knock situation. It's 12:30 at night. Let's just bust the door in.
Yeah.
I want to know who that person was. And then I want to know who was it that changed their mind on it? Who was that? Because according to Kenneth, all they heard was knocks at the door. They didn't hear anybody saying, police, 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 police. But Mattingly sure said, oh, we shouted it at the top of our lungs. It just seems convenient that also Mattingly says, oh, yeah, they changed that from a no knock to a knock. Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry.
But
I want to know who those people are because they're the ones that are responsible.
But see, here's the thing. When it comes to that, that is a normal practice. Like, you remember how we used to watch the Cops, and they would have these raids and stuff? It always happened at night. Like, you would always catch people like in their boxers, their drawers, wife beaters, pajamas. Put your shoes on, you're going to jail type situation.
Exactly how I want to be caught someday.
Right. So to me, I'm thinking to myself,
my boxers.
I'm thinking to myself like that is a culture. Like, this is not the first time this has ever happened with Breonna Taylor. Like, this is not the first, and this is not going to be the last. They're going to always do raids at night until they address it nationwide and say, we are no longer going to do raids at night because yes, you want to catch people off guard, but that's too dangerous. That's almost not fair.
No, it was a couple of times on Cops where I've seen where they went early in the morning too, where it was daylight.
I can see that. That's great.
I mean, I'm saying I've seen both, and at the end of the day, whether it's night or day, day or night, if somebody's shooting, it's going to be the same thing. I've seen, like I said, I've seen cops where they went in the middle of the, whenever they got the order, they went and, busted the door open and went and got the people out or whatever. But I think that, like I said, I think that people just want justice. They don't care how they get it. They want it, and they want an answer. I think I'm just interested in knowing what it is. How do people feel the response should have gone? Like, what if this is injustice, then what does justice look like? Because then that creates an opportunity for another conversation. That's something that will then lead us to or direct us from being emotions led, and then now we're solution based. So this is what is injustice, then what does justice look like? And I don't know that anybody really has that answer. You know what I mean? Because people are upset. People are, just like, we don't care. This is just another Black person killed by an officer. I think that's all that people are saying. But it's like, well, what does the answer look like?
Yeah, I don't know. I really just don't know. I mean, now, if it was the other way around, where the police showed up shooting, guns ablaze, banging down the door,
that's a no-brainer.
Then that's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, in this situation, it's not that. And so that's what makes it so sticky. And I'm just like, I don't know.
What is the answer?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Josh put up a comment.
Okay, let's read that. He says here, my wife's cousin was a police officer in South Bend, Indiana for decades. He told me several years ago that 60% of the police force was either using crack or dealing crack. Meanwhile, they were targeting Black teenagers for pot. He said the stories you hear about police being corrupt are probably watered down. I believe that. I believe that through and through.
Yep, I believe it.
Through and through.
Wow.
And that's the hypocrisy that burns me up. Because you know what? It's like this. When you just water the situation down and you just look at it as human beings reacting to each other, that's the same type of scenarios that we see when it comes to people who are quote unquote drug dealers or live the street life. Somebody runs up on them shooting and they return fire to protect their lives. But guess who goes to jail? Everybody goes to jail. Everybody gets prosecuted. Even if you didn't shoot, you're going to go to jail for just being there because you're just guilty by association. But it's like this is the exact same thing that we just got finished seeing in this Breonna case. It's just that they're police officers. They get off quicker and they take and drag their feet trying to get their story right and everything else, while the common person who does the exact same thing gets thrown underneath the jail within a matter of 5 days to 7 days.
Yeah.
it's a mess, and it's like it's so blatant. It's like we shouldn't expect for the system to fix itself because it's not going to do that. It ain't going to
No,
happen. So I'm not holding my
no.
breath. And it's like I say this jokingly, but it's almost like I would wish another country would just come in and kind of like save us.
Oh my God.
Like
Oh my
for real.
God.
I mean, because look,
Canada.
right? Because listen, the United States does it all the time. When we look across the pond and we see some injustice happening by the government's policing towards the people, oh my God, this is horrible. Let's go over there and bring democracy with us. Oh, come on. Save it, USA. When we
What?
have the
You mean somebody in another country who isn't going to be elected president isn't going to leave peacefully? Well, I say we go in there and do something about it.
Russia, if you're listening, if you are listening, can you please come and help us out?
Are you kidding me? That you did not just say that. I'm talking over you. You did not say that.
Yeah, I'm going to talk over
Trump
that
said
one
it.
too.
I
Yeah.
mean, if it's good for Trump, it's good for me.
Oh, you know what? They already did help us out. They got Trump elected.
Dagnabbit. So wrong country. Let's somebody from Africa. One of the countries in Africa. Can you please come save us?
Well, they're trying. That's so funny that you say that because I told you I have a friend in Ghana and he's like, just move over here. And I'm like, yo, sounds really, but
There you go. There you go. Next week, we'll be coming to you live from our new apartments in Ghana.
No, you won't. Because here's the thing. Every place has its thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and the thing is, even if we leave America, we enter into another country as an American. You get what I'm saying? You don't know what you're gonna, come up against that way. And then you have, there's stuff everywhere. It's like, be effective where you are. I mean, if you want to relocate, great, go ahead. But I don't see myself moving to Ghana. Visiting,
nah,
possibly. But moving,
nah.
Okay,
nah.
So I hear what you're saying. I was just looking up what time it is in Ghana right now. So in order for us to keep the same time schedule, our show would be from 1 to 2 a.m.
Ooh.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I'll stay here in the States.
Well, you know what? I could just
Bernard,
take a nap.
stay up that late anyway.
I'll just take a nap before
No.
the show.
What do you mean? How do I know? Don't do that.
No, Chris was saying that he would take a nap before the show. So yeah, Chris,
I
about
would.
that.
Yes.
I would take a nap too.
Would you?
I would. I take naps already. It's like I wasn't like that before, but I think that's just old age.
I like the flag.
Now. You're only a year older than me. Stop it. That's not old age. That's wisdom. You got to go lay down for a minute sometimes. It's too late sometimes. Go to sleep.
That's a soft reboot.
Well, definitely our prayers go out to Breonna's family, just because no amount of money is going to bring her back. No conviction would do that. That's why, sometimes if it feels like you're fighting like a losing battle, because when someone's life is gone, it's gone. There's nothing that brings that back. Justice absolutely is something that everyone is deserving of.
Right.
But unfortunately, like Bernard said, this is something that seems to have so many gray areas and loopholes and things like that, that at this point it's just about, doing things that will be more effective going forward. I know that it was something that has impacted everybody. I shared a clip. I shared a video where they were talking about it on YouTube. And it's something, again, it's something that is not going to just go away. People are not going to just roll over. And it's still a symptom, of what we're seeing in people's reactions and responses is a symptom of a larger problem. So even if we can't resolve every issue within, or that's a result of the problem, we still need to be solution-based with respect to what the problem is, and be working actively to resolve that, because you're going to see more of the same when you have people that are just tired. That's why, Chris, you said they have a curfew now. What in Louisville?
Yep, their curfew started at 9:00, and I'm pretty sure it goes. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong if they know, but I think it goes till 6:30.
Yeah.
I don't think Cincinnati has a curfew. There were some protesters last night in downtown Cincy, but they pretty much broke up somewhere between 7:30, 8:00 last night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that again, I got that off of WCPO. 9 on your side. That's where I got that information. Man, I love that
just
station.
plug it.
Where I get oh man. You know, one of these days I'm gonna get one of them on this show. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be awesome. I think they'll actually do it too.
I think they would.
I think
they would, because people at WCPO are awesome.
They are. I've been on their show a few times.
So you got connects, Bernard.
Yes, I have deep connections here in the city.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, then I could hardly wait for my tour of the studio over there at WCPO. Can we do it in the morning? I really like the morning show. Good morning, Tri-State. I really
Good morning. Yeah. Yeah.
You guys go and make sure that you do go live or something, because I still practice social distancing. So you guys go, and then
I do too. I mean, COVID is still real. It's so real. And I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole, but yeah, social distancing is a thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still.
We are. We are. For some. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. The Slanted Brown Network. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
What would be on our network?
Well, definitely Josh. We can definitely give Josh his own show.
Yeah, Josh would have a show. I don't know what he'd do.
My projects would be on there.
Yeah. It'll be a lot of local movies. Oh yeah. Which, by the way,
yes.
Speaking of local movies, before we end tonight, I know that there is a competition right around the corner, and I know that not a lot of people have taken advantage of it. And I've been talking to a friend of mine who has also talked to you about it, and he even posted online. Bernard, did you want to mention anything just in case anybody out there would be interested in doing it?
Yeah. So the 48-hour film project is back at it again. This time we are having a virtual 48-hour where we have different cities that will compete. It's a global event, but there are two ways in which you can participate in this. If you have a city that has 12 or more participants, meaning 12 or more teams, then you can compete within your own city and see who comes in first, second, and third to go to the next level, which is the Filmpalooza. But if not, then your team will be thrown in the United States pot, and you will compete with the other few cities that have joined this competition. And then out of that, it's going to be some big pot there.
Nice big pot.
Yeah, nice one. Nice big fat pot. And
big fatty is what it is.
Big fatty.
Oh my God.
Oh God. Okay. And so from that big pot, they're going to pull out the one film that's going to represent the United States going to the Filmpalooza. So registration, if you go to the 48hour.com page, and I'll go ahead and I'll post that up here. Then that way you can go ahead and find your city and you can sign up. Hopefully if your city is listed. So it's going to be really, really good, really cool. It begins in about 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. It's the October 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Yeah. So you have 48 hours.
Do what?
Are you involved this time again, Chris?
I am.
Nice.
I'm on a team. Right. We don't have a whole lot of teams in Cincinnati, and so I think we're trying to advertise see if we can't get more people involved. I personally think that we can compete with the big pot out there, right, Josh? Yeah, he knows. See, he's chatting with us here.
I can't.
But I also understand that, like the team I'm in, they want to be able to also compete locally too. So, I get it. But I'll tell you what, we have so much talent in this community that I'd put some of our teams up nationally. I'd do it.
I think so. I think so. And I mean, and it's getting better and better every year. Like one thing I have noticed is that the competition gap, I guess you can say, from the first to the second place is closing. It's getting harder and harder. So I'm loving the competition here.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And for those of you who have never done a 48-hour, go online. I won't explain the whole thing to you. Go online, look it up. Just know that, is it hard work? Yep. Is it rewarding? Yeah. It is a wild ride to get a movie done in 48 hours. And
oh my God.
And but it's a rewarding one at the same time. You never know when that movie magic is going to happen. And I've seen it happen. So
yes. It's
so
quite
if that
amazing.
interests you, ladies and gentlemen,
keep us posted.
Give it a go. Yeah.
Give it a whirl. All right. And I'm going to post up that link here for you guys too, to the website. You guys could go check that out. 48hourfilm.com. Gotcha.
Nice.
Cool. So what are we going to end on a good note? What type of good news or something that we can, we talked about the 48, but something a little bit more cheerier.
That's sad when you can't think of anything. Like
I can't think of anything really cheery right now. I have the day off tomorrow.
Nice.
Okay, that's nice.
That's cheery.
That's good.
That's cheery.
I mean,
that's cheery.
That's not cheery. Cheery's not a word. Josh said I got to start writing a script.
Well,
you're writing a script?
No, he's got to.
Josh said that.
He said he's got to start writing a script. Well, there you go. There you go. There's our cheery note. I got to get my weight up. There's our cheery note for the night.
Yeah.
Is that one of our dedicated viewers is going to start writing a script.
And then we'll go ahead and put the film.
Live reading right here.
I love
Probably
that.
Not.
I love that.
You know what, though? You know what, though? Actually, it would be fun someday to get enough people to do like a reading.
That would be fun.
For those of you that don't understand what I'm talking about, when you get a cast together for a movie that you want to make, everybody has their script, everybody has their parts. They all sit at a big table and they just start reading it. They just start going through the parts. They're not really acting it out. Well, you do with your voice, but not so much but you're not moving around. So with your voice influx, you're trying to get a handle on the character, and it's a great time. We should probably do that someday.
That would be fun.
I would love to do that.
I would
love to do that. Let's see if we can maybe try to do one next week, maybe, and like pull out a script, like a little short one, and then just maybe for 15 minutes,
who has
a script, Bernard?
Yeah. Who has a script?
We can how about we just find a scene from a movie and pull that script?
Oh, actually, okay. I'm on board.
Why not?
I'm on board.
I'm on board too. I would love to do that.
Tune in next week. We're going to be doing a script read.
Script reading here.
Make it light.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, we gotta insert some fun again.
We will.
Yes.
We will.
Especially after this week. We will.
I know.
Definitely. Well,
I
is
know,
that
right?
it?
I think so, man.
Sucks.
Right.
I feel like we're so somber. Like,
No, we left on a great note. I'm excited to come back and do a script read.
okay.
And even
Me
if
too.
not next week, I'm just excited at the thought of being able to do one here on the show. So
And
I think that'd be awesome.
we have our Smash-a-Palooza coming up, so keep looking.
25th show anniversary Smash.
I don't think it should be that long, guys, but whatever. I'm a team player. Whatever you guys decide.
Well, that's only like what, a month and a week away. I don't know.
Yeah. And you know what else too? When are we gonna like start recording like in person?
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, this is cool. I love it. But there's just something about being in the same room with you guys that I really, really miss. And I feel that because we've been away from each other so long. I know, right? I think that the magic will be like heightened, you know? Right? My makeup, don't mess my makeup up. Look up.
Chris, you are too much. Did you rub your eyes, Chris?
I did.
I knew you did. That's a good actor. Like, I got to pull this out.
I did. I've got to lower my face down so I can come back up.
Look, oh my God. You know I'm not doing that. I can on some.
And I think Josh is right. I should play the dude from The Big Lebowski.
Wow. That would be.
Never seen it.
You haven't?
It's not really suitable for work watching.
It's the dude.
It's the dude,
man. The dude.
Speaking of which, isn't his drink of choice White Russian? Like he's always drinking a White Russian for some reason.
I can't remember.
Drink of choice.
Yeah, but speaking of dude, it reminds me of what's his name, Robert Downey Jr. when he said, "I'm a dude playing another dude."
Yeah.
I'm just a dude playing another dude.
I'm playing another dude.
It's got to be good, you guys. There has to be something that we all like. Should I go watch this?
Yes.
Yes, I think you should.
No, yeah. I'm not going to do it just because you both were like, sure. And Chris was like, nope. One of you can tell me about it.
All right.
Well,
we'll come back with something. No, I don't want to do something serious.
You want to do something fun? Do a funny scene?
Yeah, I think for a
wait, can I pull off funny acting? I don't do comedy. I do drama.
Well, see, here's the thing. It's all about the beats. It's all about the pauses in between within dialogue to really nail comedy.
Tropic Thunder.
Oh no. Yeah, this is going to be interesting finding a script that we all can read from because
I'm good with anything. Just throw it at me.
Do funny. I'll try funny.
Just throw it at me. I'll do it.
Okay.
Yes, Chris is a pro. That shit.
Yeah.
Oh, he gonna do it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. You guys tell me, and I will prepare.
There you go.
Yeah,
we're good.
And we'll
do it.
We'll definitely get the script before. We won't have the day of. Like we'll figure this out within the next couple of days.
That would be challenging.
Thank you. I'll be like, oh, I'm not saying anything because I work behind the scenes. You guys do it. I'm the PA. Okay.
There you go.
Or you could be the narrator.
All right.
I can do that. I can read and talk.
Cool. All right.
We'll have fun next week.
It's going to be a ton of fun, right?
Yep.
Look at you. So petty.
What? How am I being petty?
Look, it's going to be a ton of fun, right?
You know, there used to be a restaurant I used to go to years ago. Sound like an old man now. They had a hamburger called the Tons of Fun hamburger.
No.
Tons of fun?
Tons of fun hamburger.
Oh, speaking of, Bernard, are you still going to
have like everything on
Am I still what?
Gonna have a vegan burger.
Yeah, if you come cook it.
Got you.